Hello, I am Matcha Bunny, and today I'm going to be playing Tiny Bunny again. So let's continue with where we left off last time. And it's gonna be too big, I just noticed that. I don't know why it adjusted itself. Let me just get it all on screen for y'all. A little bit of adjusting. I don't know why it changed sizes this time and I didn't notice it. Oops. That's okay. It's fixed now. So, let's get back to what we were doing last time. Oh god, don't delete it. I felt like cowbells were tied to my feet, still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. Mom always winced and grumbled at the moment she saw patrol cars. Worse than bandits. Who's wrong? Worse than bandits. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello. The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded. A boy has gone missing yesterday. His name is Vova. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photograph to me. He was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wall carpet, and as a backdrop, he had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window? That's right. Your window looks straight at the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his gaze, his eyes, his stare, long and heavy, full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway, the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason. How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's our little daughter. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything's alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time, with his brown eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice, to look like a polite boy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think about it, you look like one of my nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy, around your age, wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. Told me he wants to be... Oh, sorry, there was a weird noise and I was trying to figure out what it was. It was my juice box, by the way. I don't know why I was making that sound, but oh well. Told me he wanted to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer. Wanted to help other people just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should stay at home. Steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. My mom interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Well then. What grade are you in, Anton? 6th. Have you made any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Then I'll leave you my number, just in case. Call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone, along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne, and the photo of a smiling boy. Why is it... Okay, hold on. I don't know why the juice box is making a sound. Well, I do know it's because it's trying to get air back into the box, but I don't want it to because it's distracting. So we're just going to try and make the little, like, groove that they usually have a little bit bigger. Okay, it worked. His face still stood before my eyes. I wondered what it was like for him being all alone there. For some reason, I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other, like they always do, and forget about me eventually? Mom, this Volva, did he go missing in our forest? Seems like it, poor child. I looked out the window at the road. The police UAZ drove off towards the village. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remember all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I read this summer. Why was that? Sorry. Oh! Okay, so the glossary, when it blinks like that, it's giving me little, like, what is this kind of thing. Okay. Your average boy and girl investigate all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, BAM! Solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made the parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen footprints that led to the forest. And then it clicked in my head. Why didn't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I'd find the lost boy. And I'd get a reward. Oli would be so happy. And not only Olia, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe it'll even save us from the D word. I fantasize about buying Olia a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad had lost his job at that time. There's that annoying song about it. I had little to no idea what was an accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets. And Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olia. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she's still just a peepsqueak. I wouldn't want to go out. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'm going outside. Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photo next? The forest is so thick. What if the boy got snatched by wild animals? Or something even worse? Even worse, echoed through the hallway. I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Did you hear what I said? Or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag or play with Olia. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant the argument was over and Mom had the last word. So, we've seen all this stuff before. So we go to the kitchen, and we lied to our mother. Oh, that's so bad. It's difficult to lie to Mom, but there's no other way for me to run away from home. Something's wrong with the TV. The picture is dim and there's stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. You're killing me here. So you've had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Told you the keen scope would go dim because of your console. Where will we find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings? Please, go see for yourself. Strange. It worked fine this morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it? Mom rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olia's room. Now's my chance. Run. I opened the front gate and went to the field carefully so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half the distance towards the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fear. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. The hypnotizing music started playing in my head on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, and the aftertaste was still there. But distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me. A barely audible whisper in my head. Blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent. I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground. No sky. No parents. No Olia. The time reached its limit. A one-way trip that ended at the forest's Beanie Stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olia turned to stone listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together. Almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Olia present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day, it all changed. Something important left our home. Something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out, and our parents hurriedly packed our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visit us in our previous home? The eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything. And somewhere, far away, a siren was off trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in the contrast of the blinding whiteness. Knobbing trees rooted slithering under the snow like flat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze in the ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest, or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow. And when I almost got to the edge of forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but still reminded me of Captain Canova from my favorite TV show, called The Streets of Broken Lights. He was also anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? I heard a distant shout. Looked like it came from the river. Fova. As if the trees were calling out to someone. Fova. We sounded closer to me. Someone was standing there, behind the trees, hiding. I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something wasn't settling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally towards the ground, its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all in my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment, but then when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence regained for a painfully long time. My muscles were tightly sprung. My heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. You know, the best way to decide, without turning on a light, the best way to decide this would be, because I don't know which one, so I'm gonna do this in the way I usually decide weird things like this. So I'm gonna roll dice. Evens, I run away. Odds, I take the mitten. I forgot which one was which. I think it was evens was run away. Yeah. Okay, so I just got 2. If I'm wrong, oops. I should write these things down. Sometimes I remember them, sometimes I immediately forget. But I'm pretty sure it was evens run away. Odds take them in. It was a 2, so that is an even, so we run away! Lumps of snow fell from the branch, and that reminded me of the sound soil makes when you throw it into a pit on top of a casket. I immediately felt dizzy, as if I was balancing at a I can't say that word. Hee. I slowly backed away from my finding. We're just gonna turn the volume down on the music a little bit. Okay, there we go. I felt like the moment I touched a trap, it would spring. And the mouse would get caught. Someone walked on the ice close by. My inner voice whispered, "Save yourself. Run." My nerves got the better of me. I ran, burying my head in my shoulders. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket, and I'll be gone forever. But there was One more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud in my ears, went numb. I felt like the sound had come from the pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. 2 giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot. A wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bushes, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Run. Hurry, run. Don't look back. I felt like I was inside a nightmare, slowly clearing, snow clearly becoming viscous like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy tap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper in with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this isn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boot slipped out of the hole, and my soles were on hard surface again. I reached a clear path. With one jump from there, I ran to my house. Run, 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 run. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creature that were hiding under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. All my hurries, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in the front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled the doorknob and it opened. It obediently gave away. Boom. I rolled into the hallway, shut the door behind me. Board planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My finger slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitifully flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. My mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frail voice she'd always use when she's talking to Dad. What exactly don't you understand when I told you never to slam the door? I didn't mean to. I stuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone there in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mom, my fear slowly awakened and melted like snow in spring. And with its last bit of strength I had left in my bones, too. My legs gave away. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you too? I was afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was little, wanting her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel, her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. To be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me. I thought... I stuttered as soon as I started to explain myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. My mom leaned towards me, sniffing my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes, suspicious, and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant, and she covered her mouth with her hand. "Look over there, at the fence." My heart started thumping as if a prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I heard something scratch the door just like in my nightmare. My mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my regaining bravery to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter pattern on the glass. Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name or owner, and barely reminded of the hungry monster that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, you're scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me, like a bunny. And what if they were rabid? The smile slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. Fixing my sleeves. There we go. What if they attack Olia? Mom? I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look. They're alive. Huh? What? Are they your friends or foes, after all? Make up your mind. You're not little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance, so I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner just to keep myself from crying. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, you cried Wolf. Oh, don't just stand there. Here, come take your pills. A golden-colored pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So, I had to swallow the bitter medication. Drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Viola's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters. And Olia's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. About what, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with the suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything all right? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a heavy sigh. Fine. Seems like the house had changed. The soft fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. Light bulbs felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva in my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from upper floor. Olia was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink, and studied my reflection in the mirror. Like I was trying to solve one of those spot the differences puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar and Igio's voice died down. I walked past Olia's bedroom and slipped into my own. A simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. And only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to the medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort as if the wind was blowing the wall out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and dilated. The only stable thing in the whole room was a figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, just like a shroud. Olia? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dry lips. Yeah, Olia, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It enfolded us soft by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached towards the curtains, but beat my heart, controlled by my medication. The wind sang in the field with a choir of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtains, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep.
Gotcha!
I knew it was you from the beginning. A blinking bright halo lit above Olia's head, with a settling sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day, and the sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding light, woven child.
Why did the police come? Did you do something?
Of course not.
It's because of the owl, isn't it?
I showered her a worried smile and rubbed her head. A boy got lost in the woods.
Oh, he must be really cold out there. Will they find him?
They will. The police are going house to house showing his photo to everybody.
And that is where we're gonna end today. If you guys like this episode of Tiny Bunny, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.